What's up, everybody? The chances are you might have heard recently that Theory Underground did a live stream for 11 hours and the thumbnail looked a little something like this. Yes, well, most people don't have that much time. At least I would say a good number of you do not have that much consecutive time. And so some of you are probably chipping away at the live stream here and there, working your way through it. Other people are just feeling like, oh, I'll never get to it. Why would we even bother? And so I wanted to put out this video, which is the beginning and the end of that live stream, which is also like a really good place to start for getting a sense for what Theory Underground is, or at least what it's not. Like what Theory Underground actually is, as Nance always says, at the point that we're able to really say it, it'll be too late. The point here is that it is not a playground, a magazine, a YouTube channel, a commune, a hangout spot. It's not for affinity groups. And that's potentially temporary. Like maybe Theory Underground will grow into something bigger where kind of people can experiment with all kinds of ways of doing it. But for right now, it's pretty much my teaching experiment. And then because it's also, the teaching is all for the sake of my research, I bring in other people. And so what you have with that 11-hour live stream is all of the people that I brought in over the last year as co-instructors, combined with people who are instructors for upcoming courses. Now, I didn't get to all of the upcoming courses, and there will be a sequel event coming out in a couple of days, hopefully, with some surprises. I'm very excited for you all. I'm very, very excited for you all to find out about the things to come at Theory Underground in 2024. Those things to come include the Theory Underground EU, TUEU tour, which is to say going to Europe. And so we're going to be in Germany. We're going to be in several cities in Germany. We're going to be in England, London specifically. We're going to be in Athens, Greece. We're going to be in France and Finland. So that's just the beginning. I believe we're also doing something in Poland. Stay tuned for all of that. But anyway, setting that all aside, I just wanted to encourage you all to be more like Nance. And what that means is not like actually become who he is, but perform who he is, or perform what he does, perform what he performs as the student, the symbolic placeholder in the teaching dynamic. What does that even mean? Well, watch this video. You should get a good sense of what Theory Underground is not, as well as how to be a little bit more like Nance. And then I hope to see you on the other side. Leave a comment, blah, blah, blah. All right, peace. Welcome everybody to Theory Underground. I'm your host, David McKerracher, and this is the 1-year anniversary for Theory Underground. It's a very special event. I'm really excited to roll out a series of courses for 2024. I'm really excited to bring on people that I've collaborated with in the last year, as well as people I will be collaborating with here in 2024. Before getting into kind of what the schedule for today is, I wanted to bring on two of my most closest fellow travelers with Theory Underground, specifically the two people that I was on tour with this year, and that is Anne and Nance. So let's see if I can pull up the screen here, if I can do that. There we go. Boom. Welcome, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Pretty good. Good day.
Good day. Yeah.
Exciting day.
Yeah. So we're going to go over all the different speakers that there will be, and then Todd McGowan will be joining us very briefly. But I kind of want to just give you each a moment to say something about Theory Underground, the 1-year-old.
Like, it's exciting that your baby's 1-year-old. Am I allowed to tell people that it's also your birthday and that's exciting also? That this is like, I think it's not about you today. It's about Theory Underground, but it's like also you announced this kind of on your birthday, and I think that's special because it means something to you and it's like been your project. And so I feel really proud of you just because it is your birthday and that's like a special day, but also because so much has happened in the last year. And I think it's probably been more successful than people probably realized. I think people probably thought, oh, Dave's just starting a little online commie co-op and is just going to be living the starving artist lifestyle. And it's like, no, you've actually had successful courses and brought in money and were able to support me while we were living in Mexico through that money. And like, you're able to pay me a little bit to help. And so it's like an actual thing that you've created. And it's fucking awesome that we get to just talk about it and celebrate it today.
Yeah, and I would actually just add to that this is, now that I've rolled out the subscription tiers, I've actually gotten a bunch of subscription signups, enough that I would say I'm halfway to being where I could quit Amazon and actually have my time energy back. But the last month and a half has been particularly difficult for both of us because we're working at Amazon and we're trying to make this current setup a short-term setup because Anne's working full-time, I'm working part-time, but I wake up at 3 a.m., go to work at 4 a.m. And then do Theory Underground stuff all day. And the point is to try to get...
I go to work at 3 p.m. and work until 1 or 1:30 a.m. And during the holidays, they force you to work an extra 10 hours, basically. It's like mandatory overtime, which I don't know how legally they can get away with that. So, like, I'm tired. Like, I have 2 days off, and then I go back, and I accidentally scheduled myself 6 days in a row. That's just the way it is.
It's hardcore. It's brutal. Nance, how about you, man?
I mean, if you buy the book and you read my contribution, you'll kind of see that I've always wanted to be able to pursue the life of the mind. And I don't know if I could say what it means to me personally, and then like socially and in reference to society. I don't know. But it's always been something that I've wanted to do, that I've kind of tried to do, whether I've been able to apply myself, or not. That's a different question. But like when you announced this project, I was like, dude, that sounds amazing. Like, that sounds like everything I wanted when I was a little kid. And then I spent my life not being able to do it, like having to work. I had kids early and all that stuff, like real life just happens. And then like I found myself in this position where I didn't really have access to it, but I also I was making excuses and half-assing it. And it was like, no, I could be doing more, but I'm allowing my conditions to become excuses. So I just don't have to do anything. And so I can be like just a miserable, grumpy, contrarian asshole. And I have my cake and eat it too. So you kind of setting up this project was like a challenge to me in a way. Cause it was like, oh, okay. Like, just don't be a bitch. And go hard.
That's like our new motto.
Then, yeah. But you are the one who did all the work to create this framework, this playground that we can come and play in now. But like, you created it and you're maintaining it and you're doing all the work. And I think it's fucking amazing. Like I really do. And I don't know, maybe it's a little clunky and ungainly at this point. I think it's dope. But it's a wonderland, dude. It's an intellectual wonderland. Like, it's also, it has a framework and a structure, and there's objectives, and there's like a directionality to it all. So it's not like we're just jerking each other off. Like, there is
like a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, like, I haven't like unveiled like this grand plan because I don't care so much about people getting it just yet. Like I want to kind of slow build while it's still early, but at the same time, I'm getting to the point where I kind of want to actually hire someone to help on the back end. And so that is part of the subscription thing as well. I also want to be able to hire language tutors for everybody in the different subscription tiers and everything like that. And so, you know, it's a playground in a sort of sense, like you said, but also like I think that's kind of like a bad analogy. And for like reasons that we want to get into, we were all just having a conversation before the live stream about why it's not basically just like a little, like, what did you say, Anne? Like a commune or something?
Yeah, I think people see like, oh, Marx, not for capitalism. Therefore, this must be some hip, cool, anarcho-socialist, lefty commune school where it's all democratic. And it's like, no, folks. This is I think there's maybe been the expectation of what to expect at Theory Underground and the types of relationships that will be fostered has been confused. Like, this is it's a private school. That's how it should be treated. Dave's the teacher, Dave's the principal, Dave's the administrator. Like, you don't show up to a private school and say, hey, be my friend. Hey, chump. Hey, buddy. Like, that's not what this is for. You don't go to a private school and pay money for a private school or get offered a scholarship at a private school and then go, I have a critique of your private school. Like, you don't like it? Go take your business somewhere else. It's a business. It's a private school. Everyone can be professional. Everyone can be friendly, cordial.
I mean, I hope so. I hope
fun. Friendships can bloom. But I think there's like it's just some cool lefty commune and we're all comrades and we're being radical. No, this is a school, and I think people just like come in knowing that it's treating it like a school, and the expectations might be a little bit better in terms of the relationship that it exists between student and teacher, peer and peer. It's not, I think, how maybe some people have been treating this space thus far. And
I would say the overwhelming majority of people have treated it very professionally.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Very professionally. And you had actually said something too about like Nance, like the fact that I'm doing stuff with Nance the way I'm doing is a part of the problem. So Nance, we're going to kick you out of Theory Underground. Yeah. Bye, Nance. You're the problem. Scapegoat, yep. Nance. Bye-bye. No, okay. What do you mean by that, though, Anne?
I think perhaps people see, oh, well, Nance was a student, and now he and Dave, toured the country together and are friends. And I think maybe something people don't realize is, that relationship can't be forced, and that relationship came organically through Nance initially just being invested in the project and showing up and being consistent. It's not unheard of. It's actually common for students and teachers to eventually, after having taken some courses and had a discourse and a dialogue, to then have a friendship. I know Dave has teacher friends in his own life who it's used to be your professor or teacher, but now you could kind of call him a friend in some sense, but there's also still that student-teacher dynamic, and that's not going to happen with everyone, and that's okay. You shouldn't expect to go to a school with a leftist professor, a professor who is just a nice person, and then be he should be my best friend and I should be his best friend. It's this ain't the space for making best friends necessarily. It's
if Todd McGowan's about to come on, it's if I were to send Todd a message, be hey, the way you do your podcast, I've got some qualms. I'd like to talk to you about that. It's no, that's, or I don't know. Did you use the Starbucks analogy? Yeah.
It's you don't walk into a Starbucks and then get offered. So you go into Starbucks, you go, oh, that drink looks really good. I like that drink. And whether you pay for the drink or maybe the barista's you know what? I'm feeling generous today. You look like you're having a rough day. Here, have this drink for free. And you go, wow, thanks. And then you like hang out in the Starbucks all day long. And you go, hey, you know, I think your business could be a lot better if you do it this way. And then the manager's like, thanks, but this is my Starbucks. I'm going to run it how I want. And then you start getting all angry about it. And you start going up to the other customers and go, man, this Starbucks sucks. They're so mean to me. They treated me so poorly here. Man, everyone should just go to Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
It's way better. Fuck this Starbucks. And then the manager comes out and says, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to leave my Starbucks because you're being disruptive, you're insulting my business, and I hope you're okay. It seems like maybe you're not doing so well. And then you leave Starbucks. And then the left is like, we should accept that behavior. And it's like, no, go get some help, go find some friends. Like, this ain't the business to fucking raise a stink and try to run things. Like, this is Dave's show. This is Dave's baby. This is Dave's school. Treat it as such.
I'm here because I don't want to be hampered by this exact kind of shit at the university. Like, ultimately, I want to be able to do my, what Nance said, directed research, right? There's a plan. I've got to get to my plan. I care more about my plan than I do about the user end experience. Right. And like, I would like the user end experience to be beneficial. I think that we've got at least 20 people who've loved it this year, probably 50. It would be nice to get some testimonials over time. But for now, we'll just have one closing out sort of testimonial reflection from Nance, the scapegoat, before we kick him out of the org here. No, I'm just kidding. Fire away, man.
No, it is nutty that it is actually very normal behavior for people to do that. We call it Karens, and we, post them on the internet and we laugh at them. But it's becoming more and more normal. And people are talking about, let's destigmatize, certain behaviors and activities and shit. And it sure does feel like we're just like, we're fucked. Like, we're doomed. Like
it always comes back to this with Nance.
It always does come back to that, but like there are so many problems that are structural, that are systemic, and it all feels overwhelming. And it is easy to just kind of throw your hands up and say, "Fuck it, we're doomed. I don't care. I'm going to go do drugs and just die." But no, that's not the answer. And it does take some, personal responsibility and maybe we don't have bootstraps we can pull ourselves up by, but maybe we have socks or maybe we, can go cut down a tree and weave some leaf sandals or something. I don't know what analogy I'm trying to make, but being able to study and reflect and improve myself through directed research, through having accountability and people who I respect both of your guys' intellectual ability and your academic experience and shit, being able to have role models in a sense and all this shit. For me, from my perspective, I am improving myself so that I can eventually complete my own projects. It's not yes, it is fun to hang out and shoot the shit and do the thing, but I want to be better than I am. And so I'm doing these things to get somewhere.
Yes. And that's why, I replaced the model of me putting up someone like Mikey or Cadell and modeling the student. I was able to replace myself modeling the student with you modeling the student, because I saw that you take your own project so seriously, that you take our project as seriously as we do, or you take my own directed research as seriously as you do, to the point where it's you're oh yeah, I'll piggyback on that until I'm at the point where I'll be able to do that. But when I say seriousness, it's seriousness means going, my project is so important, I'm not trying to rush it. My project is so important, I'm actually going to develop it. I'm going to cultivate the soil. I'm going to spend a lot of time watching and learning from people who've spent over a decade doing this. And put your money where your mouth is. And that's the other thing, is that you're not my buddy. You're not a scholarship writer. You're a $300 a month tier subscriber, like tier 4, like I built tier 4 around what we do. We probably do what we do more than what I'm offering at that, just because at this point, like you're the only person at that tier. But yeah, it's amazing. And the fact is you having the time, energy, you having the money, you having to put towards it has made it so that everyone else is able to get the benefit that they're getting from Theory Underground. Because at this point, I would say this is the year of Dave and Nance. Now, of course, it's like Dave, Nance, Mikey, and like this is like the crew, the core, the organic network at this point, because it is organic after we've spent a month on the road on tour together. It is at this point. And so anyway, I love you guys. I think this is fucking awesome. And with that, I'm going to roll the PSA and then we're going to have Tom McGowan on. All right. Anything? Yeah. So let's roll the PSA. This is a brand new thing. I spent a lot of time.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time editing this, so let's do it. Check it out. It came out today to the channel, so watch it.
Thinking is super uncool, and that's why you should do it. It's just like almost anything that's like cool anymore. Yeah, it just sucks. And I think that's like what the underground movement has always been about, is just like seeing what's in the mainstream, being like, it ain't there, and kind of like cobbling something together, you know? And yeah, it's a little mismatched, but that's like its beauty.
We cannot do direct revolution, but the only way to lay the foundation for it is to do what you are doing to move the underground. It's a theoretically correct title.
Welcome to Theory Underground, where workers with earbuds can find genuine liberation from necessity.
Research at Theory Underground focuses on what is most important for understanding our current situation. Theory of the subject, capital, time-energy theory, critical media theory, CMT, and the most essential critiques necessary for understanding why the theory, ideology, and common sense of influencers left to right misses the mark.
We bring primary texts from leading lights of diverse fields to bear on topical issues and works popular in our current world. Theory Underground is a publishing house as well as lecture course and social media platform. You've been reading Underground Theory.
Yes.
And
amazing book. I'm a publisher and an editor. I run and review books. Literally, it's my living. This is the best edited collection I've ever read.
Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
This is a little experiment in what I, David McKerracher, can pull off without relying on the academy or the algorithmic dictates of the attention economy.
Usually a good edited collection has good essays, but you only want to read a few. Every essay makes me want to read the other essays because you have a vision. Everyone that you invited for a reason. You weren't some fake publicist who's like, oh, so-and-so's a new book, have them on your show. No, you only talk to people because you've read shit by them, that you've thought about, that you think has value, even if you disagree. So I think that's what's amazing.
I believe that I am, like so many others, pioneering a future in which educators can form learning webs that will make learning as a way of life enjoyable and emancipatory. However, before these tools become accessible, they have to be experimented with. That's why I built my own website and app using nothing more than my own saved wages, 5 patrons, and some small classes of students over the last year. Of course, I also have had my wife Anne's moral support and help with accounting so that I don't get in trouble with the IRS or whatever. In less than a year, Theory Underground has already put out 8 courses, 2 books, one, my book, Time Energy, and the other Underground Theory, which has over 30 contributors, including works written by students at Theory Underground, some of my fellow travelers, and colleagues in the broader universe of Underground Theory. Beyond the books and courses, though, you will also find interviews, reading exegetical reaction sessions, and live weekly events for working-class autodidacts, independent researchers, and renegade academics. These include a variety of clubs and cohorts that meet on a weekly or monthly basis. If you want to get involved, there are 4 main subscription levels.
Think of it like a gym membership, but for your mind.
The point is to make learning, practice, and theoretical comprehension a way of life. Support at this stage of the operation is more crucial than ever because my savings were used up over the last year of getting this established. If I can triple my subscribers in the next 2 months, I can quit my gig at Amazon and focus on this work full time. All I need is a few more people at each of the levels, or a couple big time patrons who just want to see it happen. Right now I am doing a patron and site subscriber drive, so excuse the commercial. But if you end up really liking what goes on at this channel, consider signing up soon. If you cannot afford it, but want to get involved with some of the stuff behind the paywall, I have made a financial aid scholarship you can sign up for here in the description. Quick side note, some people ask about the profit motive. At this point, I have not actually made a return on any of my investment in terms of the amount of time, energy that I put into things, the amount of savings I've actually put into things, the opportunity cost of the work that I'm doing as opposed to the other kinds of things that I could be doing for money. But more importantly, I don't actually make enough to pay for my cost of living. The goal is to make enough for my cost of living, and then once that is achieved, everything over that amount is going to go towards expanding the operation to the point where I can hire Michael Downs, aka Mikey of The Dangerous Maybe, to be a full-time researcher and part-time teacher at Theory Underground. All right, so with that aside, I just want to say also, if you are a worker with earbuds, what's up? I see you. I work at Amazon part-time, and everything I do is for my past self who used to work there full-time. Most workers with earbuds couldn't care less about theory, but I do believe a working class intellectual revolution could grow out of the underground theory scene. My hope is that what I have built here will contribute to making the scene something more than just a scene, and you into something more than just a scene kid. We're trying to make this into a real intellectual milieu capable of leading a way forward beyond the imminent crises facing humanity. But for that, we need thinking now more than ever.
Start thinking.
I hope that you either will or have enjoyed the program, and also make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and leave this playing in the background all the time while you're doing other things.
Playing long-form Theory Underground content in the background while you do things has, in the near future, been scientifically proven to emancipate minds from the functional illiteracy imposed on workers by the structural stultification of time energy. This is achieved by reterritorializing circumspective concern.
Also, to some degree, it is for the algorithm. All right, so it's not a playground, it's not a magazine, blah, blah, blah. You already got the idea. Well, before we get into the last part of that 11-hour live stream, I just wanted to also say, if you can't be like Nance because you don't have the time energy, then be like Bert, because chances are, if you're in the crunch part of your life where you gotta hustle, then you should at least have some money. And ultimately, even someone like Bert, who really doesn't have the money because he's on Social Security, for some reason, he believes so much in what I'm doing that he just keeps giving me the money. And I don't know, it's like he couldn't care less what I do with it, but he just believes in my projects, and so he just gives it, even though he's not even involved with Theory Underground. So he's kind of like our patron mascot, whereas Nance is our student mascot. So with that, I want to, before we get into the last part of this video, I want to show you all the video I did that features Bert from last year. Enjoy.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that poster. Baudrillard in Boise, fucking Idaho. Are you kidding me? It was virtually an answer to an unspoken prayer, you know. It really was. And I just couldn't believe that somebody was interested in the things that I was interested in, that I had been interested in for years and had kind of given up on in futility. I'd labored in solitude for so long. I had no one to talk to about it, no one to bounce ideas off of. It just vastly accelerated my ability to, I don't get too philosophical, to interrogate, to inquire, and to see connections between things.
And so the Theory Underground that Dave is developing in this mission is trying to reach an audience of people who aren't just doing philosophy in a university setting. Why is there an advantage to doing philosophy outside of an academic setting?
Well, the neat thing is that you can really drill down. You know, when you're in school, you you have to do 50 things, and you do them all partially. And it's like you're digging a well. And you're digging very shallow wells. When you can drill down deep and take your time and really get into something, especially with a company of fellows, that you get into the slipstream of a great philosopher, and you just have to take the deep dive. But initially, a lot of these philosophers, they're speaking to a tradition, they're trying to resolve specific problems, and they just assume you know what those are, that you've had their life experience. So the first time you read them, you're just trying to get the lay of the land, and you may well have some insights. You may wrongly associate certain things you know with what they're saying, but then you'll maybe look at a secondary text, and now, since you have something to bring to the table, all the lights start going off. And then when you read the philosopher the second time, you can read them more knowledgeably. And so you're looking for things, you're better able to follow along, you're not left behind so much. The third reading, though, and these are for profound books. I mean, you don't have to read everything like this. But for a profound text, the third reading is where you've learned enough that you relate it to everything else you know, that you begin to see the connectedness between what this philosopher is doing and the implicit, unstated situation that they were speaking to initially. You know something about that, and you see the connection between that and all sorts of other things, and you connect it to your life and the way you live and move through the world and the way you see things and interact with people, and you are not just absorbing, you're creating, you're a co-creator. When it's all said and done, you just have to put it into your own words, and there's a danger of reductionism there, but when you put it into your own words and you're bringing all these different strands together, it's really phenomenal. And that's what the third reading does.
So, a few years ago, Dave, running the Theory Click channel, had a Patreon going and discontinued accepting money from people. But since then, you have continued to make a donation monthly.
Right.
It's obviously very meaningful to Dave, meaningful to me as well, being Dave's partner.
Right.
And so, why do you do that, essentially?
Well, Dave brings people together. Whatever Dave is doing is valuable, and my life was completely changed, and I'm grateful. I can't afford to give Dave $50 a month, but I do because it brings me joy. Every time I get my Social Security, the first thing I do is send $50 to Dave, and my heart sings. And it's a sense of gratitude. I don't feel obligated to do it. I want to do it. And I want to do whatever I can to help Dave do for other people what he did for me. And I want that to continue. And it's truly, I take great joy in it. It's the best $50 I spend a month. It really is. If you can plant a seed where a handful of people meet each other and they can all have the experience that we've had face to face with each other, that would be awesome.
And now here is the reflection from the end where we've got Nance, Anne, and Mikey, as well as Andrew for a little bit of it. This is not just like the end of the 11-hour live stream. This is the part that follows the Theory Underground Film Club double feature conversation where we were talking about artificial intelligence and romantic relationships. So definitely join Theory Underground, the film club forum, and you should be able to find the conversation there, or you can just go check it out in the live stream yourself. But for now, we'll just get to, basically, this is the exit from the stream, and it's everyone kind of saying, this is where we do the victory laps. All right, this is the victory lap session, and it's kind of where people are like complimenting me and stuff like that. But more importantly, this is where Mikey and Anne, as well as myself, will all say some things about Nance. So you want to learn how to be like Nance, or at least how to perform the Nance role. Watch this shit, okay?
Look,
Peace.
I didn't get to see all of the stream. I was in and out today. Your talk with Todd was really great. I love the whole thing on transference and parasocial relationships. That was great. Leon was awesome. I really am excited for his course. And you know, I like this whole weird, like, it's more of a myth. I mean, look, I guess there's a little bit of truth to it, but this whole thing of like Lacanian analysts versus Lacanian theorists, I think it's so dumb. I want to talk to as many Lacanian theorists about what's going on in the clinic as I can. And I mean, I think it's going to be a really fucking cool thing. I mean, look, like Todd teaching seminar 11, you said it today, it's like a dream course for me. So this is, it's one of those, I feel like it was hyperstition. It's fiction real, right? And now that it's real, it's amazing. But I'm also super excited for Leon. I'm super excited for your seminar on time energy. Again, I'm going to say it's his birthday, so I'm going to say it again. Everybody sleeps on your work. They sleep on this concept. And I'm telling you, look, for speaking for myself, who I have spent my adult life studying theory. I would like to think of myself as a connoisseur of concepts. And this concept is of fundamental importance. And so you've laid the foundation for this whole thing on time energy. And yeah, I want it to click for more people. Read Dave's book, get tapped in to what he's talking about with time energy, because and it's like you were talking about with OG Rose, right? This to me, I mean, look, this goes back to a lot of things. It's what you were talking about with Christianity with OG Rose, is the whole thing that Christine and Nina were talking about with universality. Right, like to me, the concept of time energy makes me get on the same page with, like, it cuts across differences, right? I don't care if you're Christian or Muslim or gay or straight or trans or cis or blah, 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 blah. None of it matters. What matters is us getting to live a whole new way of life. It's a different standard of living if we all were able to have our time energy to invest in the passions and the activities that make us affirm our lives, that make us want to get out of bed in the morning and lead meaningful existences. And this is something we all are universally lacking. And so that's where I just think that there's this fundamental importance that time energy has, that it, instead of being something that divides us and gets us all fighting over our identities and all of this, it's a universalizing principle. And that's what I love so much about it. And look, I mean, yeah, there's other ways to talk about, like, how can we like a universal, but to me, it's such a fundamental importance to that we're missing something. And like I was telling you on the phone the other day, like, the other issue, it opens up this whole other critique of different modes of production, different forms of society, because I don't care if it's feudalism, I don't care if it's what we think of as Western liberal market capitalism, I don't care if it was Soviet socialism, or if we follow people like Richard Wolff and Stephen Resnick calling it state capitalism, right? I don't care if it's something like Mencius Moldbug talking about neo-cameralism. All those societies have something in common. They're work-centric. They're job-centric, right? You don't have your time energy in any of those modes of production. And so if you're saying we want to organize society around time energy, it enables you to see like even something like, yes, and we're not denying there aren't important differences between the Soviet Union and the USA, right? Back when the whole Cold War was going on. But the point is, if your job is the fundamental organizing principle of your life, you are deprived of your time energy. And this means that we have to rethink what an emancipatory society would look like if we're saying that emancipation involves the emancipation of time energy. And so all that is to say, don't sleep on what Dave's doing. And look, when I say what Dave's doing, there's no like time energy is something I'm doing. Like it's not like it's isolated. Like Dave does it, and then I just. Here's the thing: I haven't written on it yet, because I was telling Dave for years, you have to get a book out so I can start doing something with time energy too.
That's how I am, and everyone who's rolling with us knows that I don't with CMT get into Baudrillard because I'm waiting for your main book to be out. So it's like I have to make footnotes to unpublished works at this point, and I think I have made footnotes to unpublished works of yours because of this. And so it's like, that's the bind we are in.
So there's a process, right? And that's part of it. But here's the thing: now that Dave has written a time energy book, look, I still think that we know the big book on it is still yet to come.
Right.
But you wrote the book on it. It's your concept. Now I can go, Dave came up with this. Now I can go do my thing with it too. And so I'm just saying, like, yeah, absolutely. Go get that book, read it, and take the fucking seminar. Get tapped in.
And honestly, get this book. And then if you want the old edition of Waypoint, you better get it now because it won't be around for much longer. There's probably only 5 more copies of this in existence. So like this is about to go out. There will be an updated version. So yeah.
But I'm saying, here's the thing. Yes, we have, like, Adorno wrote this great thing that you talked about earlier called this little essay on free time. It inspired both of us, right? Baudrillard has some really great insights into time and how that works, right? There are thinkers who have had these great insights into social temporality and what's going on there. But they always make these connections almost in passing, or they're like a marginal insight they have. They develop it briefly, and then they're on to something else, right? It hasn't become a robust, systematic theory, and you're the one who has laid the foundation for that. And so, like I say, if anybody thinks like I guess I've wanted to say that for a while. Like if you look at my blog, yeah, there's really nothing on time energy, and that's only because Dave had to write a book on it first before I was ever going to go into it. And so now that he has, you can expect to hear a lot more about time energy from me, because I'm on the same page with him. I want a world where we have our time energy. And so I know with philosophers, it's hard to get them to agree on anything, but he and I agree on that core issue. And so I'm just saying, I think that a politics of time energy has the potential to be a universalist politics that cuts across all of the identity politics we have right now. And that's the power of it. So take the seminar, be ahead of the curve on this one.
Yeah, it'll probably be, relatively small. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to these lectures. And the other thing is a totality and infinity course, right?
Yep.
And so I kind of want to show this whiteboard, but right now it's hard to see, and it's I don't know if I can actually zoom in that far, and I'm not going to mess with the camera. But basically, there's something going on every month, and there's there's the language learning clubs, there's the writing workshop, right? There's the film club with a double feature every month, just like today. Not always live streamed, usually not. And parts of that might go up later or whatever, but it's just generally speaking something for people who are on the forums, people who are using the app, people who are using the site, and I wanted to point out that there are things that are ongoing throughout the week. There's Capital Mondays, 4 to 6 hours of Capital, whatever. We talked about that. There's critical doxology and time energy theory, the seminar, and that's going to be every third and fourth Sunday. And then there's critical media theory, and that's going to be on the first and second Sunday of every month. And then there's stuff happening like basically all Saturdays. Like there's going to be breaks in the year so that we could do the Europe tour and the conference and stuff like that. But outside of the breaks, outside of the conference, outside of the tour, like there's going to be like constantly stuff going on Saturdays. And sometimes the stuff going on Saturdays is going to be being in time. Sometimes it's going to be totality and infinity. Sometimes it's going to be you teaching Žižek. Sometimes it's going to be Todd teaching Seminar 11. Those are all Saturdays around the same time. They vary by a few hours because we dial it into the preferences of the instructor. But that's throughout the year. And if you want to be like able to access basically everything, then like tiers 3 and 4 are the ways to get that. Like tier 4 involves a lot more of my actual time, energy, and attention. Tier 3 just gets you into everything. But like tiers 1 and 2 get you into a lot of shit too. I wanted to Nance to like, I built tier 4 around Nance. We're trying to get some tier 3 and tier 4 subscribers in the next couple months. I'd like to quit my job next week, but I need a couple of tier 3 and 4 subscribers to do that. So, I mean, I'm dead serious though. And like, I am a beast when I actually have my time, energy. Yeah. Oh, you streamed all day. Yeah, but this is nothing. And so I'm exhausted right now. I'm not going to do any hub events for the rest of the week. I'm going to take it easy. And so that's because of my time, energy lack right now. And everybody has that time, energy lack right now. But by being a person who makes this possible, I can kind of bring you this bottled up energy that you can kind of have on demand. And it will be something that can allow you to disassociate while at work and listen to deep dive stuff, but also introductory stuff. And that's something that Cadell had actually said about Theory Underground. Aside from the fact that we have a social media app and this background research and all these fields and all the stuff that we're doing with that, there is the fact that like nobody on the internet's doing all of these introductory courses and no one's taking it as seriously as we are. No one is taking it as seriously as and so Cadell had actually kind of like pointed that out. He does like these long form things, kind of like I'm doing with the Totality and Infinity or Being in Time courses, or eventually the Introduction to Capital, or the ongoing. Look, he does some long form stuff like that. I mean, that is his main specialty. But like, I care more about introductions. I care about people having to amass enough knowledge to be able to do a solid introduction, and making that accessible in the long run. But making that accessible in the long run means being freed up in our time, energy, and not being exploited in our labor, either by people who just watch us for free or by people who are bosses. And so like, we just need to be freed up to be able to do what we do, because this is what we love. But there are constraints and a horizon of possibility that is closing. And if I decide I'd rather like have a good life with the people I love than do this, then I'm out. And I could see it being in 6 months when Nance says, I have to go back to work. I could totally see it being then. So if we can't build up something before Nance has to go back to work, it's over. Because I only have one tier 4 subscriber right now. I have to get other ones. So that sets up Nance to be able to say his thing about what that is. But first I want to celebrate Nance by letting Anne and Mikey each say something about getting to know him over the last year. Anne had said it at the very beginning of the stream, just because you're a student here doesn't mean we're going to be friends. Look, dude, that's crazy. Do not bring that bullshit. Like, let's not be buddy. At a certain level, let's be convivial for sure. But, you know, like, let's not be all like buddy. Nance doesn't give a shit about talking about his personal life, his personal problems. Nance doesn't give a shit about talking about your fucking pictures of your dog. He doesn't give a shit about talking about like his problems with his domestic life or his work life. Or it's just like he doesn't. After being on tour, I see he gets irritated after about 2.5 hours of it. Like he actually just shuts down and he's fucking done. And it's just like if we're just doing deep dives and doing theory, like he'll stay lit for fucking 24 hours straight. I've done it with him. And so it's like, but it's like that we're project like pals at this point because of how hard we go and we egg each other on. And what most people do is they don't egg me on in a good way. They're just trying to like get attention or like play this fucking, oh, let's talk about things. And like, oh, I think you could fix the platform. I think you could do things differently. And it's like, I would love to brainstorm, what I'm doing with somebody who's been around for a while. So like, how about you let me do that with the people who I trust and just leave me alone. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I don't care. I left the academy so that I don't have to fucking deal with your fucking rate my professor bullshit, even though I was the top rated for a whole semester. Like I was the fucking front page of rate my professor at Boise State. So fuck you. But I don't like those ratings and I don't want to live by those. That's all. And so, yeah, but I want to set up Mikey and Nan here to say some things as well. And then the idea is like, yeah, we're trying to do research here, right? It's not just the courses, it's the research for the courses. It's being done before the courses are taught, not in the moment on the fly. And so that's also,
like, I didn't just decide to, I'm teaching a course on land on or next Saturday. I better start putting some work in on land. There's 3 months of serious work that went into that. Yes, I'd been familiar with land and on land off and on for years, but to put in the work to actually teach all of those texts of his and all that, that's what they don't see is the 3 months of prep that goes into that. I just can't spontaneously teach a course like that out of my nature or something. there's real prep that goes into it. So anyway, the easily like best supporter we have. Watching what Nance has done, I mean, how you've grown as a thinker, it's just amazing. I was watching it when tour was happening, with your ability to speak publicly, present your thoughts, everything. You're like transfigured. You're like a new person after this year, philosophically and theoretically. And I thank you so much for your support. And like this whole last year wouldn't have happened without you being a part of it.
Wouldn't have.
And seriously, like, so, I am just incredibly thankful for you and that we met you. And like I say, look, this whole thing, like we've talked like friends and fellow travelers and everything, but I don't let just fellow travelers crash at my house. So I consider you a friend, and I'm really thankful that I've gotten to know you over the last year, and you're a part of this. And just thanks for being you and being here.
And dude, we would like you just as much if you were broke, but you had the time energy somehow, and then you brought the same level of intensity and positivity to the process.
Your theory passion. I do. It's maybe it's just egoic, but I do could immediately identify with you based on that type of radical commitment to just learning theory. And a lot of people on a lot of social media platforms love to act like they're theory junkies, and but they're not doing what you do. And so I just immediately respect somebody who and admire somebody who is so about the life of the mind, and nobody embodies that more than you.
Yeah, dude. I know. Everybody always gets like, fuck you, don't do this. But like, we just have to do it like a little bit more just because, and it's not, we're making an example out of you in like this way that where I don't think we'll do this for other people. Like nobody else will ever get this. Like, don't come to Theory Underground because you think you're going to get like this at the end of the year or whatever. It's not going to happen. We're just doing it this one time so that you all know, like the rule is to be like Nance. If you act too far out of field from how he acts, we just can't. We're sorry. He's modeled it. We're safe in saying he's the model. He's the mascot in a sort of sense. Brian's the real mascot. But as far as like the mode goes, it's the mode. Try to perform the mode. It's just a mode to perform. It's not real. It's pro-felicity, but try it out. Try it on for size. It's fun. Yeah. Oh, you're muted, dude.
Yeah, I just want to say anybody who's Nance is a singularity here. And, this is drawing on my own experience, and so this isn't going to mean anything except to you two. But I just try to imagine somebody acting like okay, I had a professor. I didn't go to college, but I took some classes at community college, and my teacher's name was Doug Washer, and he became like a lifelong friend. I love him so much. He changed my life.
We got to meet him on tour.
Before I met him, he had 20,000 other philosophy students. And the point is, just as he's special to me, I'm special to him. And if I try to imagine all of his college students going, but I don't get to have the relationship with you that Mikey has. Well, I don't. You know.
No, but the thing is that those students will remember Doug for the rest of his life anyway, and that you were the condition of possibility for him performing at his peak. You allowed him to grind. You made it possible for him to grind because you put him into the symbolic position that forced him to his best.
Well, and again, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for him and his. It wasn't just mentorship; it was friendship. And there was a lot of years where I didn't have anybody to talk to philosophy. And he was the first real person I met in the concrete world that I could talk philosophy with. And he's just a wealth of knowledge of it. And so, yeah, we developed a special bond, and we've done that with Nance. But like, this is ultimately a business. You're here. This is a business, and people buy courses and they learn stuff, and that's a transaction.
Well, and that's the thing. I was going to say this. I was going to say I think it's safe to say that without you being a tier 4 subscriber, it would just be the same, because you've brought the time, energy, intensity, positivity to the process itself. Okay. Like, you've become like this enabler. But the point is like with the money, we've talked about money realism. It's like, if you can afford beer, but you can't afford philosophy, then you're not in it. I mean, you're doing something, and more power to you. But, there's a difference between the aesthetic sphere and the ethical sphere and the religious sphere in a Kierkegaardian sense. And you might be on your passage from one to the other, but if you're still prioritizing it that way, then I don't know. Because I remember myself before I quit drinking, because I remember sitting in a jail cell because I'd slept in the back of a van and got a DUI, and I spent the night overnight in a jail cell. And I remember thinking, like, if it comes down to drinking versus philosophy, I choose philosophy. And I chose that in that cell. And because it's just like, if it gets in the way of me. So I've realized the conversations, they feel good at the moment. They feel deep. They feel profound. I don't remember them. They don't build up to anything. It's just a bunch of babble. It's a bunch of idle talk. I was living in the aesthetic sphere, but I was flirting with the ethical sphere. Right. And so I moved into the ethical sphere over those last, I quit in 2016. Quit drinking in 2016. So it's like, it's a better part of a decade. Fuck. And I'm better off for it. But I still, sometimes I'm like, I just want to eat a whole pizza and drink some beer. And I'll go, no, I'll just eat the whole pizza. Fuck it. But like, outside of like occasionally like feeling like, oh, wow, I kind of want one. I most of the time don't want one. And I really wanted it. It was hard to quit. But like when I tried it in the past, but at that time when I actually did, it was easy because I love philosophy so much at that point. But it did take a long time of being into philosophy and drinking like I was. And I know like, Mikey, you drink. I know that doesn't mean anything for other people. It meant something for me. And the thing is like, if you think that you're like Mikey and you can have a couple beers or whatever, but you're not able to prioritize philosophy, you're not putting your money where your mouth is, and your money is for now a good enough stand-in for your time, energy commitments. And so for now, in basic money realism says your fucking time energy actually is something that you free up by making strategic priorities with what you do. And so I'm just like, it's like fucking, that's the thing, is like everybody wants to do what we do, but that doesn't want to go through the process. And so we're just trying to like live the process and show you it's never ending. It's always this way. You're always going to feel like there's too many books, but you can come into a relation with nonlinear reading where it's like you get to know them all. It's like possible, but it's a lifelong project, and you're not there. I'm not there. Like, none of us are where we want to be. That's why time energy theory exists. So we ultimately need to free ourselves from our situation. But if you're like, no, I'm going to work for another 5 or 10 or 15 or 30 years before I retire, but you want some help developing yourself so that you can springboard into the life of the mind at some definitive point when you actually can dive in, then like you're not going to be able to get that by summary videos or essays. You're going to have to come and like actually like just be along for this ride, dude. So, yeah, fucking money realism. That's what Nance said.
I want to say this. Okay. You and I, with all that we've done in our collaborations, there's not been a single point since we've been collaborating that both of us had our time energy. And if people like what we've done with us, it's a cliche kind of phrase, but you ain't seen nothing yet. The day that Dave and I both can have our time energy and have time energy and just normal, relative, stable economic stability, right? Just, I can't
look out,
even
guys.
be like,
yeah, look out. It's honestly like, it's what the conspiracy of silence is ultimately about. People don't want it. They don't want to have to. They don't want to have to see it. They don't want to have to see us pull it off. People think that you shouldn't be able.
I know what this can be, and it can be a mega force. This is just the very like rumblings, stirrings of an underground thing. But if we get some luck in the next year, and things have been moving in a good, upward, progressive direction for the last year, and I couldn't be happier with how this year has turned out. If it keeps going in that direction, I'm just saying, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, what was the list earlier? The list of all the things, man. That fucking, it's like insane. But it's like, yeah, the app, the website, the course site, the social media side, the books, tour, the books, the blog posts, 8 courses.
Exegeticals.
I'm just saying, guys, like, I'm not going to always have this, like, kind of ability because I'll have kids and shit. And, like, I've got something to prove right now. I just turned 36. It's like, I got to actually do it in the next few years. We all feel that way, the 3 of us.
I'm not going to be able to do it without Dave.
Yeah, dude.
Look, I did nothing before Dave. Dave's got me to start the blog. I was fine just writing this shit and working on philosophy on my own. And Dave's the one who sparked me to do, the blog and then lecturing and teaching and all that. And I know that somehow with my libidinal economy, like, I can just not publish anything. I can, if I get to read and I get to say, I'm fine not putting it out there. And so I do. I need Dave as the motivating force to get me.
I've been your agent.
Look, like if Dave wasn't doing this right now.
My main job is to be an agent for you, and it's required building this because you said if you build it, they will come. But you didn't have this in mind quite as it exists. But like, I'm doing it, it's happening, and so it's just, yeah, man.
And that's the thing. Like, again, Dave has done all of this with very, very little support, and I mean, no major institutional support or anything.
5 patrons.
So my whole thing is, this is ground level of the new way of becoming educated, right? And the thing is, education, especially in America, and there's a lot of weird American dynamics going on in this whole thing, but education is something forced upon you. It's nerdy. It's like a form of punishment. And for philosophy of all things to be emerging as a subculture in America, I mean, it's a radical reversal of all things American. And so where this goes, what it becomes, I don't know. But I want to see what potential this has locked inside of it. And like, I mean, I love this stuff so much now. Like, I wouldn't go if I could hack the university system and have a PhD right now and get hired at a university. I still wouldn't want to do that. I want to do this. I want to help in whatever small way I can to change what philosophy is by making it a way of life, a subculture, and hopefully one that has major effects in culture, period. But I mean, it's bizarre to feel like that philosophy is becoming a subculture, and we're at the ground floor of it. And yeah, I'm just saying, if things keep going in this direction and we keep building, I mean, the vision for this thing Dave has, and what I have no, like, all I want to do with the rest of my life is write books and teach philosophy. It'd be nice to actually go to Europe maybe for a trip. I'd like to do that before I die. But other than that, teaching philosophy and writing books, that's what I want until I die. So,
anybody who says this guy's spitting, just imagine if he had his time energy back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ann, did you have something to say? Oh, and here, let me give you your microphone. You're not mic'd right now. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Yeah, I'll be short and I'll be all sappy and blah blah blah. Well, as like a thinker in my own, I need to take this out. I can hear myself. As a thinker on my own, I admire and respect all the work that Mikey does and has done. I think like the partnership that I've gotten to witness these last 5 years between you two is like fucking awesome. You guys make each other better. I've seen you scream at each other on the phone, and then a week later you're like, hey man, so this idea, like, and it's great. I think it's great. And then like Nance, yeah, I've just seen, like, you were quiet, kind of mystery in the beginning in that first like idea of the university class, and you've really just not only like built in confidence, but have become just a better writer, thinker that I've been able to see. So yeah, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I have my own ideas and thoughts in this space, but I'm also Dave's wife, Dave's spouse, Dave's partner. And I think there's probably like a version of this relationship out there where I'm just jealous of all the time that Dave spends talking to Nance and Mikey about all this stuff. And it's like, we have our own deep philosophical, social, political conversations, but I just don't have it in me to obsess for 8 hours straight a day. And I think part of it is just like my own personality, and part of it is I think a gender division. Guys just tend to be more obsessive. And so the fact that you do have Nance and Mikey to like be that obsessive person in your life who you can just do this with all day, it's like, it just makes me so happy. Like, I'll bring you breakfast when I can, when I'm awake, and I'll bring you food, like, and it's fine. Like, I love it. I love what's going on here. I think, like, seeing especially how
you brought me breakfast because it's my birthday,
okay,
not because you do that every day or whatever.
That's true.
I make my own breakfast every goddamn day, and I wash all the dishes in this house. She's not just a trad wife, okay? I just have to say.
I wash the dishes sometimes. But yeah, it's great. It's great division of labor we got going. No, but I think like seeing Nance and the way that you've been able to just do these long days with Dave, I just think it like has opened my eyes to the importance of theory and this type of thing. Because it's like, okay, I see Dave do it, but I guess I didn't realize that this is like necessary for a certain type of person to be able to just go hard all day long, like multiple times a week. And it's just awesome. Like, I'm proud. I'm excited for the future. Like, looking up at this calendar, you guys can't quite see it, but it's like, oh yeah, there's some awesome stuff going on here. And I guess I'm honored to be the honorary woman trad wife, no, I'm just kidding, of the space. And yeah, just thanks for like including me, but thank you for respecting me as a thinker in my own right, and thanks for like being there for Dave and his passions, because A lot of people don't get it.
And
you guys
most people don't treat her like a real thinker in her own right. Most people across, like outside of Underground Theory, people treat Anne like the girlfriend. Only in Underground Theory, only on this tour has it been like a universally like continuous thing that people engage with her and her ideas.
Yeah, the people who Dave has met through philosophy and theory are the people who like treat me as an individual and not just the girlfriend or the wife. And I appreciate that. So you too, especially. Thank you.
Oh, and like, first off, thank you. I mean, because let's be honest, like, if you were the type of partner that hated what Dave, like, it just wouldn't work. And I've seen a lot of people be passionate about something, and their husband or their wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, doesn't support them, and it eventually breaks apart. And so, but that's the thing. If the partner can go, no, I support the passion, then that's like a relationship that's just built to last, because there's so much support in that. And I mean, and I don't take that for granted. Like, Dave has made possible me achieving the things I've achieved the last couple of years. And if you were not supportive of him, I wouldn't, like, say it's a whole chain.
It'd be a bad situation.
You know, Dave makes me better. I make Dave better. Nance makes us better. It's Power Ranger shit. You make us better, right? If he had a horrible partner, that again, just so it's all of us. It's really, I hate this corporate talk, but I'm using it because I'm hopefully using it. It's a team effort. It really is. It's just in this context, team means something, opposed to just generic ideological bullshit that your boss says at work. And so, yeah, I just, again, and then like we have this great core, but then but it expands out, and like, so everybody in the circle and I just, from Cadell to obviously Nick and Andrew, right? And then Todd being in Russ, and Christine's amazing, and this whole, Michael from Žižek and so on. Like, there's so many people the last year that I've met or connected to through doing what we're doing, that there's so much incredible things they're all bringing to the world of theory and everything they're working on. And it's so cool to be a part of it and see it unfold the way it is. And so that's it. I just want to, we're just in the baby process. This is Theory Underground infancy. And you look at the last year and seeing what has happened just in its infancy. I want to see when it's a full grown, functioning adult, what it does at that point. And so I just want to keep the show going, and, because again, I know, like, I'm not doing shit without Dave. I'll just pack up and I might write, but nobody will get to read it or anything. I'll just,
So then why is it then important for me to stress the sole ownership, responsibility, fiefdom thing? Why is that important then?
Because it's this is not, look, I love this whole idea of the democratization when it comes to wage labor, which would eradicate wage labor hypothetically, right? Like, but when it comes to passion projects, anybody walking through the door thinking they get to say will fundamentally undermine what the project is. And I don't care what it is. I mean, guess what? When Prince wanted to record an album, Prince got the final it was Prince's album, right?
Right. It's like you guys are, or we all are, for Dave, it's like we're collaborators, we're peers, we can create together. But at the end of the day, it has to be, and it is, like, your decision, because it's your thing.
Yeah, and I know for a fact Anne will have her own thing. She's had a vision for it for like 10 years. I mean, forever. Okay. And so, okay, but where were you going with this?
Oh,
yeah.
wait.
Oh, so did you? Oh, okay. Well then, okay. So I think we're about ready to close out. The last thing we have to do then is, I got to show you all two things. Let's train spots again here. Because this is about Underground Theory. So this is about underground theory, the book that Anne is most responsible for actually having gone out like as fast as it did. She really pulled all her resources together right then and then planned a wedding right afterwards, which was like crazy. And then I planned a tour like at the same time. It's been a lot of planning, and we need to close this thing out. I know I'm tired as hell, but I just got to show two things. And first is a QR code. And in underground theory, I haven't talked about this on stream yet, but like in underground theory, you'll see this. So that is like at the end of every major section throughout the book and on all the blank pages, we put a QR code with an arrow, with a link. You can just type it in on your computer if you don't know how to use a QR code. But you can actually vote for your favorite pieces in the Underground Theory volume. It's not a real competition. We'll later, like at the actual conference, give some like best this, best that. But it's all bullshit. But it's just like, we just want to actually see what people say. Don't take it too seriously. If anybody takes it too seriously, we'll laugh at them. But for real, it is great to hear people's thoughts on pieces, like what really resonated with them, what disturbed them, like whatever. Just like let us know your shit. I'm more interested in what the actual collaborators and future collaborators have to say about the pieces in there. The thing is like the stuff you say in there could be on the back cover of the next edition. Who knows? Or on something else that's a promotional, but also just like, think about what you want to say about it. Say it there. Say it in Amazon reviews. If you didn't buy it from Amazon, then don't worry about it because you can buy it direct from the website and save some money. But anyway, that's my plug for Underground Theory. And then the other thing is right here, which is this quote. I want Nance to read it on our way out. This is sort of the closing statement of so many of the different themes. And so, this is the quote from the second to last page of Loncar's CMT piece in the oh my God, I love it so much. And so I'm just going to full screen it up here on the screen. Mikey, if you want to read along, it is there in the actual chat. Nance shared it there. I just think that this paragraph sets up the anti-land position that I hold in a sort of like in the context of critical media theory and class and everything. And it's just, I think that Loncar nails it. And take it away here, Nance.
Education as the emancipation of the human event from its immersion in ideology, here understood as the technological system's coercive self-image, is thus not only an existential demand, but one upon which any human and free global order depends. To the extent that humans continue to treat the current crises as material, they perpetuate the alienation of their subjective freedom into the acceptance of social and technological forms as external objects, things imposed upon them as fate, rather than appropriation.
Rather than human processes.
Rather than human processes subject to intellectual understanding and psychological reappropriation. This is not to negate materiality for ideality. My entire analysis has been to show that literacy, a technology and its material forms, has governed the evolution of our historical epoch. But to observe that the dialectical distinction between the two is now unstable, if not untenable. Materiality is undefinable or intellectual and thus ideal, as is immediately evident when one considers contemporary physics and the fact that energetic fields are our best current way to characterize the supposedly primal materiality of the cosmos.
There's so much here and stuff that I would love to get into. But this where's the part that he said the thing that's basically like a straight up address to Nick Land? He doesn't, he hadn't read Nick Land at this point. So, but basically, if we don't get emancipation from immersion and ideology, if we don't get like actual education, if we don't get to develop the human, then the functionally predictable, like structurally stultified worker idiots that we're turned into is all we'll have left, and it's the end of human history. And that's basically what he builds up to. And he does this giant spanning like McLuhan McLuhanite like history thing. It's amazing. I absolutely think everyone needs to swoop on that. It's only available here in Underground Theory, as well as so many other things. And so get the fucking book. Nobody's bought it for like 2 weeks, but it was going off the shelves like every few days for like 2 months, and like it's doing great, but like people kind of forgot about it for a second. And so just wanted to give you all the reminder that this is a book you definitely should not get, because it says on the back, people who purchase this book should be barred from public life. If you want to get barred from public life, I guess go for it. With that, yeah, Nance, we talked about you. You can say your closing thing, and then you get the last word.
Well, hold on. Then I go first, which is just simply, here's my modification of Žižek. See you either in time energy or in hell.
Man, I don't want to have the last word. There's a lot to say. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like personal shit that I would love to say to you guys. Like, we're marking the year. It's happy birthday, Theory Underground. But I mean, all that personal shit would probably be best said personally. So publicly, I'll just say to everybody, get in the truck, dummy. We're doing the thing. Like it like, no, I will say, I have stakes in this thing. And I believe in this thing. And I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but like, yeah, like I'm doing the thing. And it relies on Mikey's work. It relies on Dave's work. It relies on Ann's work. Like it is this interconnected web, of work of other people and dedication of other people, and it's ability, but it's also dedication. Like dedication and ability are kind of going hand in hand. But like, I don't know, like if anyone is watching and they like are curious, like, yeah, man, do it. Jump on in. The water's fine.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. I'm gonna roll the PSA. Peace.
Thinking is super uncool, and that's why you should do it. It's just like almost anything that's like cool anymore. Yeah, it just sucks. And I think that's like what the underground movement has always been about, is just like seeing what's in the mainstream, being like, it ain't there, and kind of like cobbling something together, you know? And yeah, it's a little mismatched, but that's like its beauty.
We cannot do direct revolution, but the only way to lay the foundation for it is to do what you are doing to move the underground. It's a theoretically correct title.
Welcome to Theory Underground, where workers with earbuds can find genuine liberation from necessity.
Research at Theory Underground focuses on what is most important for understanding our current situation. Theory of the subject, capital, time energy theory, critical media theory, CMT, and the most essential critiques necessary for understanding why the theory, ideology, and common sense of influencers left to right misses the mark.
We bring primary texts from leading lights of diverse fields to bear on topical issues and works popular in our current world. Theory Underground is a publishing house as well as lecture course and social media platform. You've been reading Underground Theory.
Yes.
And
amazing book. I'm a publisher and an editor. I run a review of books. Literally, it's my living. This is the best edited collection I've ever read.
Jesus Christ.
Seriously.
This is a little experiment in what I, David McKerracher, can pull off without relying on the academy or the algorithmic dictates of the attention economy.
Usually a good edited collection has good essays, but you only want to read a few. Every essay makes me want to read the other essays because you have a vision. Everyone that you invited for a reason. You weren't some fake publicist. He's like, hey, so-and-so's a new book, have them on your show. No, you only talk to people because you've read shit by them, that you've thought about, that you think has value, even if you disagree. So I think that's what's amazing.
I believe that I am, like so many others, pioneering a future in which educators can form learning webs that will make learning as a way of life enjoyable, and emancipatory. However, before these tools become accessible, they have to be experimented with. That's why I built my own website and app using nothing more than my own saved wages, 5 patrons, and some small classes of students over the last year. Of course, I also have had my wife Anne's moral support and help with accounting so that I don't get in trouble with the IRS or whatever. In less than a year, Theory Underground has already put out 8 courses, 2 books. One, my book, Timenergy, and the other, Underground Theory, which has over 30 contributors, including works written by students at Theory Underground, some of my fellow travelers, and colleagues in the broader universe of Underground Theory. Beyond the books and courses, though, you will also find interviews, reading exegetical reaction sessions, and live weekly events for working class autodidacts, independent researchers, and renegade academics. These include a variety of clubs and cohorts that meet on a weekly or monthly basis. If you want to get involved, there are 4 main subscription levels.
Think of it like a gym membership, but for your mind.
The point is to make learning, practice, and theoretical comprehension a way of life. Support at this stage of the operation is more crucial than ever because my savings were used up over the last year of getting this established. If I can triple my subscribers in the next 2 months, I can quit my gig at Amazon and focus on this work full time. All I need is a few more people at each of the levels or a couple big time patrons who just want to see it happen. Right now I am doing a patron and site subscriber drive, so excuse the commercial. But if you end up really liking what goes on at this channel, consider signing up soon. If you cannot afford it, but want to get involved with some of the stuff behind the paywall, I have made a financial aid scholarship you can sign up for here in the description. Quick side note, some people ask about the profit motive. At this point, I have not actually made a return on any of my investment in terms of the amount of time, energy that I put into things, the amount of savings I've actually put into things, the opportunity cost of the work that I'm doing as opposed to the other kinds of things that I could be doing for money. But more importantly, I don't actually make enough to pay for my cost of living. The goal is to make enough for my cost of living, and then once that is achieved, everything over that amount is going to go towards expanding the operation to the point where I can hire Michael Downs, aka Mikey of The Dangerous Maybe, to be a full-time researcher and part-time teacher at Theory Underground. All right, so with that aside, I just want to say also, if you are a worker with earbuds, what's up? I see you. I work at Amazon part-time and everything I do is for my past self who used to work there full-time. Most workers with earbuds couldn't care less about theory, but I do believe a working class intellectual revolution could grow out of the underground theory scene. My hope is that what I have built here will contribute to making the scene something more than just a scene, and you into something more than just a scene kid. We're trying to make this into a real intellectual milieu capable of leading a way forward beyond the imminent crises facing humanity. But for that, we need thinking now more than ever.
Start thinking.
I hope that you either will or have enjoyed the program, and also make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and leave this playing in the background all the time while you're doing other things.
Playing long-form Theory Underground content in the background while you do things has, in the near future, been scientifically proven to emancipate minds from the functional illiteracy imposed on workers by the structural stultification of time energy. This is achieved by reterritorializing circumspective concern.
Also, to some degree, it is for the algorithm.
Think of it like a gym membership, but for your mind!
I love you so much.
I love you too.